With competitiveness rising among colleges across the country, many parents' goal is to ultimately have their child be successful. One particular trait that some parents may have is being authoritarian, having a high amount of demand with little warmth and support. These types of parents just want their child to be the best. They believe that by making their children experience these strict work habits, they will quickly become successful and will surpass their peers in the quality of their work. Many question if it's acceptable for parents to use authoritarian parenting towards their children in academics. Some may argue that children can suffer from behavioral problems, they may undergo poor social skills, and can even develop health problems throughout their entire life. If we take a look at this clip from a primetime show, What Would You Do?, you'll be able to see exactly what authoritarian parenting is and the effects of it on children.
An A- is a bad grade. A tiger mother can order her kids to get perfect grades.
An A- is just like an F. In our family, everybody gets an A. That's unacceptable.
Be prepared for this test. It's an A-. An A- is just like an F in my book. What were you thinking? You're stupid.
I felt like I wasn't appreciated enough.
Punishment would mean that I couldn't watch TV, I couldn't hang out with friends. When I came home, my phone would be taken away.
It made me feel like I wasn't good enough.
Most of us are immigrants, and I feel like they want what's best for us and they want our lives to be better than theirs were. So that's why they stress that we get really good grades, because without an education you can't get anywhere.
My mom went to college only for 2 years, so she only got her associate's degree, and my dad never went to college. So they wanted me to do the best I could, and in order to do that, I had to get an education and get good grades.
They would say stuff to me like, you can't go play with your friend if you don't get an A. Oh, that sleepover, forget about that sleepover, you didn't get an A. You can't go on that field trip, you don't deserve to go on that field trip because you didn't study enough for that test because you didn't get an A.
The competitiveness within my peers definitely influenced my parents in their decisions and in their parenting. Like, they wanted me to do as well or better than my peers. They would say something like, oh, look at what this kid is getting, how come you're not getting that, or you should be getting that. If they can do it, you can do it.
Did my parents compare me to my peers? Yes, all the time. They always said, oh, your friend did better on this test than you did. Why didn't you study as hard as your friend? Why is your friend better in school than you are? It's very upsetting because it makes you feel inadequate as a person. And that definitely took away from their effectiveness of being a parent, because you feel inadequate all the time.
Well, it builds up a lot of frustration, and I mean, I could have gone off the walls, but I guess a part of me wanted to do well too, but sometimes I got really frustrated with it.
In Townsend Harris, a lot of the students are like the school has a high expectation for the students, so they have to get high grades, they have to join extra activities, sports, music, acting, dance, something. And in order to cope with it and to keep up with it, a lot of the students go on drugs.
It was like when I wasn't in my parents' view, I didn't know how to handle myself because I just liked feeling free and I liked making my own rules and not doing what was right.
I think it causes more harm than good, because you either have a kid that's really uptight and doesn't know how to do anything independently, or you have a kid, once they get freedom, they go free and crazy. Whereas if you have an authoritative parent, it's more of a balance. They learn how to be independent. They know how to set boundaries and goals for themselves and can control themselves when they have a taste of freedom.
I would say it caused a lot more harm than good because I was emotionally damaged. I didn't really feel loved. I was under so much pressure all the time. There are definitely more negative outcomes than positive outcomes, definitely. Is this method an acceptable method of parenting? No, it's not. It's very traumatic. It's very emotionally draining. It inhibits your growth as a person. You almost don't feel safe or loved in your own house. I think a much better way of parenting would be to tell your child that you love them and you support them no matter what. And as long as they're always doing their best, then that should be okay.
I think my parents did try to push me past a certain point, like when it comes to competition, but eventually they realized that, they realized my capacities and they accepted it.
Some things my parents could have done differently that would have had a more positive outcome. They could have just been more supportive of me. They didn't have to yell all the time whenever I meet an expectation of theirs. They could have just sat me down and explained to me why they're unhappy with me. They could have, lowered their expectations a little bit too, not expect straight A's all the time, just expect me to do my absolute best. They just could have been more loving and supportive, definitely.
Like, I try to look at it from my parents' point of view. I try. But once they learn to accept it, then things are okay. But when they're trying to make you out to be someone you're not, that's when things get rough.
You can't keep trying. You have to do it. How many times do I have to tell you? Come on, you just don't listen. Okay, you know what? I'll be right back.
Now, Anne feels comfortable enough to check on the young girl.
You all right, sweetheart? Can I do anything for you?
My mother's so hard on me.
I know that. Everybody in this diner can hear that.
When the tiger mother comes back, the women are ready to explode.
Are you bothering people? What's wrong with you?
Lady, chill out. Leave her alone. Leave that child alone.
She's doing her homework.
Yeah,
I need to supervise her.
Screaming at her. This is ridiculous. You are the worst parent I've ever seen. That way. You are a disgrace.
No, she's a disgrace.
No, she isn't. She's a little girl. You're a bitch, lady.
You see what you did to me?
No, please. She didn't do it to you. You did it to yourself.